Okay, so for today's deep dive, we are tackling something that is, well, it's almost impossible to categorize.
It really is. I mean, it's been running for, what, nearly 40 years?
Something like that.
Hmm.
And it's sold over 120 million copies.
Hmm.
It's this massive cultural force.
And yet it's both a meme factory and, a legitimate piece of high art at the same time.
We're talking, of course, about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
The definition of a cult classic that just sort of exploded into the mainstream.
And a big reason it's lasted since 1987 is that it just refuses to be the same story for too long.
Exactly. It's not one single narrative stretched out forever.
Right. It's more like a generational anthology. You have
Yeah.
the JoJo naming link between all the heroes from Jonathan Joestar in Victorian England.
All the way to Jodio in modern-day Hawaii. But each part is its own distinct thing.
It feels less like one series and more like a constant remix of genres.
Totally. The creator, Araki, seemed to realize that if you stick with one hero, you eventually just hit a wall. You get that power creep problem.
Where the fights just become absurdly huge.
Yeah. So by rebooting the protagonist and setting every few years, he just resets the stakes. It creates what he calls a human hymn. The connection isn't just blood, it's a spirit passed down through time.
And that reinvention idea even applies to the power systems, doesn't it? Because everyone knows JoJo for the stands, but they weren't there from the start.
No, not at all. Part 1 and 2 were all about Heyman, or the Ripple.
Breathing magic, basically.
Pretty much. Breathing magic to fight vampires. Very 80s martial arts. But then Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, completely pivoted.
And that's where stands come in.
That was the game changer. He essentially found a way to visualize psychic power. So instead of just invisible telekinesis, you suddenly have this, like, neon ghost punching things for you.
It's brilliant because it solves a huge problem in comics, you know. How do you draw mental energy?
You turn it into a character.
Speaking of the drawing, we have to talk about the art style itself. You can't mistake a page of JoJo for anything else. The characters are always in these wild, contorted poses.
The famous JoJo poses. Araki is just obsessed with Italian Renaissance sculpture, especially Michelangelo.
You can really see that.
He loved the way those statues had that torsion where the body twists in these really unnatural but beautiful ways. And he just combined that with like 80s horror movie gore and high fashion magazine.
And creates this amazing tension. Even when they're just talking, they look physically stressed out.
Yeah.
But let's get to why the series is so fun. The fights aren't about who hits harder.
Not for a long time. That's the whole brain battle innovation.
Yeah.
JoJo really pioneered this idea that every fight is a puzzle.
Yeah, it's not about strength. It's about strategy.
In a normal action series, if I'm stronger than you, I win. Simple. But in JoJo, a character with an objectively weak ability.
Like turning things into zippers or something.
Right. That person can beat a time-stopping demigod if they use logic and leverage the environment correctly.
It's all tactical. It's
Yeah.
like this super complex game of rock, paper, scissors.
And you see that DNA everywhere now. You look at Hunter x Hunter or Jujutsu Kaisen, those super complex, rule-based magic systems.
They all come from JoJo.
It shifted the whole genre from force to compatibility.
But underneath all of that, there's a really consistent philosophy, this idea of Ningen Sanka, the human hymn. What's that really about?
At its core, it's a rejection of miracles. In the world of JoJo, a god doesn't swoop in to save you. You don't get a lucky break.
Humans have to overcome everything through their own will.
Their own will and their own ingenuity. It's a celebration of human grit.
And that's interesting because it even applies to the villains, too. They're not just nihilists trying to destroy the world.
No, they usually have really constructive goals. They want to achieve peace or overcome their past. They're just, sociopaths about how they do it. Araki writes villains who are positive. They're always looking forward.
So it's not good versus evil. It's more like will versus will.
And even when a hero falls, that will, that spirit, gets inherited by the next JoJo in line.
Even across universes, right? Because a timeline splits after part 6.
Exactly. The universe reboots, but that theme of inherited will stays constant. It's why the series can do collaborations with Gucci or have art exhibited in the Louvre. The themes are universal.
It really has bridged that gap between pop culture and fine art, which brings up a really interesting point about legacy.
We usually think of legacy as, what you build or who your kids are.
But JoJo kind of suggests a legacy is just an idea that outlives you.
Precisely. So it leaves you with this thought. If the whole JoJo universe can be rebooted and still feel like the same story, does a legacy actually need a bloodline? Or is family just a metaphor for anyone who decides to pick up the torch?
That's a heavy question for a series about psychic punching ghosts.
Oh.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive.